so today we're interviewing Graham Crawford, a legendary translator-interpreter of Polish-English documentation and co-author of quite a few books, and expert in Poznan's main university, one half of the excellent Space Bats musical group. Is that correct?
Yes, I would agree with all of that. Yes.
Yeah, good.
Maybe legendary is overstating it a little.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Welcome, Graham.
Fantastic. Stupendous.
Yeah.
Stupendous.
Fine, okay.
Yes.
And thank you for accepting our invitation. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for inviting me.
That's very
kind of you.
important
Thank
for
you
us.
for agreeing to come on the
Yeah.
show.
Sure.
Yeah, and you're a very active person, very talented. Like you could play James Bond maybe, and perhaps
He could play one of the villains in James Bond.
Villains.
I'd happily play a Bond villain. Yes, very happily.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
I think he
so
could
you
work
tell
out
me,
of that.
how are you surviving in a country without a queen?
Perfectly well, sir.
Perfectly well.
Perfectly well. Yes.
You don't miss Queen. Yeah.
No.
You don't miss Queen.
No.
Unless it's
I
unless it's Freddie Mercury.
I met the Queen,
Wow, did you? Wow.
1994, Pałac Łazinkowski.
Wow.
It was very dangerous because they had gentlemen wandering around with trays with champagne on. And so by the time the Queen got to me, I'd had about 6 glasses of champagne by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I didn't entirely follow protocol.
Wow.
But you met some of the royal family in Britain, didn't you? Whenever your brother got the opening.
Yeah, last year I went to Buckingham Palace when my one of my 2 brothers got the OBE.
Yes. So anyway, so a few business questions there, if you don't mind. You wrote, or you co-wrote, you co-authored a number of books on English for Polish readers, among them some big business English books. As an expert, what would you say are the main differences in these 2 worlds between the United Kingdom and Poland?
Okay, I mean the first thing is that I'm more of a linguistic expert than a business expert.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's be straight about that. I'm not a Bill Gates. I'm not an
Yes,
entrepreneur.
yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Okay, as for linguistic side of this, right? How would you? Are there any differences how you start a conversation, like business conversation in the UK and in Poland? Any tips on that?
I mean, certainly in general, Polish people are a little bit that you're closer to the German style, where you put a lot of emphasis on people's titles.
Okay.
And Panie Mecenasze and
yes.
all of those kinds of things.
Yes.
And people,
stamps. And
yeah,
stamps.
oh yes.
Yes.
People get quite upset if you use the wrong title for them and so on. And you know, clearly in the UK and in Ireland too, people really don't stand on ceremony at all, do we?
No,
Yeah?
no.
So I would say, you know, nobody cares where you studied, what degree you got, or any of that kind of thing. It's not relevant.
Okay,
yeah?
but for example, when you start a business meeting here, right? When you have an appointment with your partner, first you start with making small talk, like for 10,
definitely.
15 minutes here in Poland. Is it the same in the UK, or before you get to the point? Yeah.
I'm thinking back to I did have a brief period where I went back to the UK to live, and I ended up as a mortgage advisor, and various representatives from the banks would kind of come round and speak to me, and so these were kind of business conversations. And to be honest, I don't think we wasted that much time on small talk.
Okay.
I think we got to the point actually quite quickly.
Okay.
Always the basic kind of politeness is very important, but I think we get to the point fairly quickly.
So how much time does it take for small talks?
Gosh, I would say like 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes.
Just
okay.
kind of.
Okay. Get to the point. Get to the point.
To the point. The kind of informal talk always kind of came. Well, we've done our business. Now let's establish the relationship.
Okay. All right. So
And would you make like a signal there? Sometimes there, whenever I'm sitting at a business meeting, I would sort of like, okay, after I've done all of the pleasantries, I would sort of tap the fingers and then sort of like as an indication, okay, let's talk turkey.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you do something like that?
I mean, I didn't, but I never had a. I think you can be direct if someone's like, okay, let's get down to business. You know,
Yes.
There's absolutely no
Yeah,
problem
that's a
with
very
saying
good way.
something like that.
Yeah, let's get down to business. That's a very, very good way.
Let's get down to business. Let's talk turkey. Okay, so what are we here for?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
And then let's say now talking about meetings, in light of the current climate there with these viruses and stuff then that are going around at the moment, we all know which one that we're talking about. Yeah. And also with the technology there that we all have now at our disposal, video conferencing meetings and stuff, would you be more prone, let's say, for accepting a video interview or rather a face-to-face interview whenever there are multiple people involved?
Gosh, I mean, my feeling, I'm definitely more old school, and I think face to face is always better if it's possible. But you know, the video conferencing is a useful tool, particularly nowadays with multinational corporations.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's absolutely necessary, and it clearly gives you an awful lot more insight and feedback than you know the way that you get with the body language and everything.
Yes.
It's clearly going to be a superior communication to telephone or emails, and you know, where you end up with much more like the Chinese whispers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got this observation. Sorry, like referring to what we've just said about getting to the point. I hold many video chats these days, like at least one a day, and I noticed that when I set up this video chat, I get straight to the point. You don't lose, right?
Yes.
It's not, well, so much time on small talks.
Yes.
You just go straight to the point.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you send an invitation, we're going to meet up at 1:15. Everyone's got like 30 minutes or so, and you go straight to the point.
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
like, the experience is more or less the same, but you know that you're here just for a particular reason.
Yeah, and they're all much shorter, and then obviously the travel time is greatly reduced. Let's say it's like 18 seconds there it takes me to get from one video meeting to another. It's just like the distance from the bathroom there, wash my hands and then sit down and I'm ready to begin again.
But I think that's the thing that we're talking about, is the video conference is going to give you the business thing. It's not going to be the best medium for establishing rapport and establishing a client kind of B2B relationship.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're only going to get
Yes,
that with the
yes,
face-to-face.
I agree with that.
Yes.
This is a different different experience in terms of relationship. No question about this.
Yes,
Yeah.
but as a way of maintaining the relationship, it's very, very good.
Yes.
But yes, we agree with you totally about building the rapport. It's very important there to meet and to have contact there with the person, because you know.
What business advice? Well, advice or business? Or you said you're not into business that much, right? So don't treat it so so precisely. Yeah. But what kind of advice would you give to a younger version of yourself when you first came to Poland?
30 years ago.
After
30
all those,
years ago, wasn't it?
After all those years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 years ago. Wow. So this was like 1990.
1990. Yeah. First time I was here was 89.
89.
89.
Yeah, it was just right before communism ended.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know Poland very well.
Yes.
I could say.
Oh yeah. I saw the last kind of bit of empty shops.
Yes.
Of
I
massive
remember that.
queues.
Yeah.
I was in a little town called Człuchów, and for like 3 days, no matches in the town. You couldn't buy matches anywhere.
And did you smoke?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, but it was
Back
okay.
then
I was,
everyone smoked.
I was a rich Westerner, and so I could go to the Pevex
Oh yes, that's. Can you remember that?
and buy myself a lighter.
Can you remember that? I remember
Of course.
Pevex.
Yes.
Yeah, can we elaborate on that?
Yes.
Yes, there was those shops, right? Can you imagine? I don't know if many viewers can remember that, or can have an idea what we're talking about, right? In the previous system, right?
Because we had the dollar shops where you paid for everything in dollars.
Or Deutschmarks or something.
Imagine ordinary shops, right? There were like empty shelves, nothing in the shop, right? Like, everything in, like communism, right?
Yes.
Like communism, looks in James Bond movies, for example, right? And then you walked into a shop, which was like a Western kind of shop.
Yeah.
Nicely decorated with all the products, everything, but with the exception of the currency, right? You need to pay in dollars, dollars, Deutsche Mark back then, and yes, and there was this some kind of invention Bitcoin currency that you can pay in zloty, right?
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was something really something so strange, right? Like you know, on TV you could like these days you could hear some propaganda talking about how Western world is you know bad and has such bad influence on us and everything, and at the same time, the governing party invited you to a shop where you could see what it looked like, you know, in reality.
In reality, a real shop from the West.
Yeah. But at the same time, we recycled. There was this toilet paper, which was not. It was a recycled toilet paper.
The grey toilet paper of Poland.
Yes,
gosh,
And
sandpaper for the arse.
Yes. Hemorrhoid cream needed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
Okay.
it was.
It still exists. It still exists.
Do you know? I think my main business financial advice to my younger self would be: don't take out that Swiss franc mortgage.
That would be a very good one.
That would be my main one.
That's a very good one.
And then, let's say, now taking into consideration business acumen, what are the main differences that you see between Poland and the UK nowadays?
Again, as I'm not really a business person, I wouldn't want to try and teach Polish people how to do business. I think Polish people do pretty well on that score.
Do you see any areas in particular where they excel, in particular there between the liaisons, let's say, between your country and their country?
I don't know if there are any particular areas. I mean, clearly, you know, if you're in Poznań, everyone's going to know companies like Solaris, who have done fantastically well.
Yes.
And, you know, Poland has lots and lots of very, very kind of high-level experts. Yeah, people with there's this company Medcom that does like the silicon carbide batteries and so on. You know, you've got various people in universities working with skin grafts and doing really interesting stuff there. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, the whole Polish scientists with the graphene and everything. Yeah.
Oh yes. Exactly.
But it always seems that the people are here, the ideas are here, but the money, the people who make the money out of it tend to be the foreign companies.
You need funds, right?
Yeah.
Every time you start something, you need funds.
And the Polish Stock Exchange just doesn't have the
ability. But yes, that's a good point, because you've been here long enough to observe the changes, right?
Sure.
So you know, Polish society, Poland, you know, becomes richer and richer every year.
Balcerowicz.
Yes, that was a very good move, of course. Yes. So what do you think about this? Can you call it a Polish miracle, like within Europe, this growth? What do you what do you think about it, right?
Yeah, no, I actually would say, I don't know if I'd use the word miracle, but I mean, absolutely astonishing.
Yes.
Early 1990s, my father came to visit me here, and he was looking around, he was saying, Poland reminds me of Britain when I was a child, i.e. post-war Britain.
Wow.
And now, you know, Poland is, and this is the ultimate compliment, Poland is just another boring European country.
Yeah, just another boring European country.
I mean, I'm sorry, I was really actually quite angry when I heard certain politicians talking about Polska w ruinach.
Oh yes, we well know who we're
Poland,
talking about.
Yes.
That for me was denigrating the achievements of an entire generation of Poles from the 1990s to the present day, who have actually created a fantastic country.
Yes.
From somewhere which was 50 years behind the West to a place which is just another boring European country.
Yes. Yeah. But you've lived here now for long enough, let's say the last 31 years, to watch all the changes in Poland, and Poland, like, as they began to join the European Union, when was it, in 2004? So as an Englishman, what can you say about these changes, and what does it say about Poles and Polish people living abroad?
Well, certainly, you know, I do a lot of cycling, and I've cycled around pretty much all of the kind of small villages around Wielkopolska, but not only Wielkopolska. I mean, I've cycled all the way from Hell to Świnoujście and so on and so forth. Every single little village that you come to, somewhere near there, there's some kind of building project, sewers, roadworks, with an EU sign funded by the EU.
Yes, with those stars.
How many local trains, trams, and so on do you get on funded by the EU? You know, the money that's come in here, and you know, the Poles have made fantastic use of it. And you know, you compare the local trains that we used to have in the 90s to now. You get on, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got
charging points for your phones.
It's, you know, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, but you mentioned about your cycling. I'm really interested in that. I googled lots of information on the internet about you, Himalayas.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? This is so interesting. You seem to be a very extremely active person, and
I gave up playing five-a-side football and decided to get a bike. And it ended with cycling 1,000 kilometres in 3 weeks through the high Himalayas, going from about 2,500 metres up, ending at Kardung La, 5,500 metres up. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And this was like 50 kilometres, 4 hours riding, all the time up.
Wow!
Just up. More than 2 kilometres of climbing in the one day. Yeah. And what can I say? I mean, every single day the views were different but equally awe-inspiring and astonishing. And if you ever get the chance to do it. It's just
unforgettable.
Absolutely. I think it's probably the kind of the most memorable, awe-inspiring thing I've done in my life. Apart from maybe coming to Poland in 1990. Seriously, you know, the adventure I had in Poland in the early days was remarkable. I joined a theatre company in Koszalin. This was Teatr Pantomime, so movement theatre. And you know, we went around performing various plays at a cabaret.
You're into pantomime?
I used to, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Yes, he is.
He is a talented person, isn't he?
He's a very talented person. Yeah.
So yeah, we used to do that, and you know, performing in places, Szanów, Strzelce Krajeńskie, you know, just so many small little places, and I used to go around on there was a newspaper in Koszalin, Goniec Pomorski, and they used to do żywe wydania, so this live edition of Goniec Pomorski, and they would kind of like wheel me on to play a few songs and sing. And very often we'd be going to places, Piła and whatever, and I was probably the first English person that lots of the kids there had ever seen, and they'd be coming out to like, look at the strange English guy. The first time I went into a butcher's shop.
Oh yeah?
I was terrified, and I stood in the queue and I got closer and closer, and I realised I didn't know how to ask for anything. And there were these women with these massive, great big axes. And I got close to the front and I chickened out. I just kind of left the shop, and it's like, no, this is just too extreme. I can't.
Do you remember that they had no beef and stuff in those days?
They had two kinds of beef.
Yeah.
With the bone and without the bone.
Yeah.
Tell me now, where is your home now? Where do you feel that home is?
Definitely, Poznań.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
And then in terms of things that you miss in Poland there from the UK, like in terms of food, meals, condiments, confectionery, what are the types of things that you miss in the UK?
Really honestly, I came to Poland and I never really missed stuff.
Yeah?
No, I never kind of got hung up on, why isn't there brown sauce?
Yeah. No brown sauce, no salt
brown
vinegar
sauce,
crisps.
Yeah. I must confess though, if I could introduce something into Poland, it would be the salt and vinegar crisp.
Are there any words or phrases there that you have difficulty saying or pronouncing?
This is a
words
tricky question, yeah.
in Polish.
Do you know the one that really sticks in my mind, and fortunately it's not one that you ever need, but I remember when I was married to a Polish lady,
Beata.
to Beata, yes, and when children, you do something embarrassing and they kind of want to, they do this thing, "Tush, tush, tush."
Yes, yes.
And I
yes.
can't say properly.
That's interesting.
Choose, choose, choose.
I could never say that to her satisfaction anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're another foreigner who speaks better Polish than I do, right? So,
Oh gosh. Yeah.
so that's a tricky question, right?
This is the fun one in this context is the word which Polish people can't say,
Yes,
which is skrzypce.
skrzypce.
No, not skrzypce, skrzypce. You see?
Say it again, please.
Skrzypce. You see?
Skrzypce.
No, wrong.
Skrzypce. Okay, wrong. You say it.
Yes. Skrzypce. No.
No.
This is a Polish
No,
actor's
speak up.
exercise,
Oh,
and it's deliberately constructed. You get massive interference from the word skrzypce.
Yes, it's very
and
hard.
you can't say
Yes.
skrzypce
Yes,
because it's such an unusual combination.
Yes,
of-
this is a
And what
very
is the-
unusual.
what does the
There
word
isn't
mean?
there isn't
It
any
doesn't
word.
mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, so it's just
Yeah,
like a
it's
dip,
just a question of kind of mind over tongue.
Yeah, like for like exercises for actors,
Yeah.
right? Like for people giving speech and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Graham, you're also a musician.
I am. Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us something about it? Like what kind of music and
Yeah.
Is it-
I'm like a singer-songwriter, if you like.
okay.
So I play the guitar, but I play the guitar in order to write songs rather than.
Okay.
I'm
Yes,
not a
yes,
virtuoso
yes. That
guitarist.
makes
or
sense.
something,
Motivation, yeah.
yeah. You know, I started when I was like 14. I think I picked up. I used to steal one of my brother's guitar and put it back exactly as if it hadn't been moved before he came back from work.
Yeah.
So.
So what did you listen to back then?
New wave
Who-
and punk.
What inspired
Sex
you?
Pistols, Undertones,
Ah.
Elvis Costello,
Oh wow.
Van Morrison, David Bowie,
Okay.
and then later on maybe Nina Simone,
Okay.
Steely Dan is my absolute
All right.
all-time favourite.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like a songwriter.
A songwriter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, as I mentioned to you before we
Yes.
started
Yes.
filming, I've worked with a few performers in Poland in terms of helping them with singing in English, correcting texts. They may write a text in English or they need a text in English.
Ah,
So
all right.
they provide me with a melody and then I just write the text to fit and to suit. And then help them in the studio with singing it nicely.
So you did that like kind of professionally for
Yeah.
for some performers in
yeah,
Poland?
yeah, I still do it occasionally.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You are talented.
Yes.
Graham.
Very
I'm
talented
really,
man.
really
Yes.
happy
Yeah.
we could have this conversation. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're very
Once
welcome.
again,
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
And yes, dzięki.
Super.
Dziękuję
Yes.
bardzo.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję.
Yes. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Paul.
Thank you.